Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click the bell icon at the top of the page to get notified when I post a new video. Please give this video a thumbs up. Universal Channeling. Channeling the Conscious Universe. Divine Plan for Earth, U.S. Government Reformation, GNESARA. Reason for political emphasis, power of love, free will, honoring Gaia's choices, adjusting to higher planes of energy, discerning true or false information. Suzy Ward, channeling Matthew Ward, March 2, 2021. With loving greetings from all souls at this station, this is Matthew. Let us begin by saying that everything in your world is happening in what rightfully can be called divine order. The plan to transform life on Earth did not originate only 2 decades ago with the U.S. legislation called NESARA, or a decade before that, with the global peace movement known as harmonic convergence. Indeed, those were grand milestones to celebrate, but the plan to restore the planet to its Eden self, a beauteous pristine world where all life forms live together peacefully and joyously, came into being untold millennia ago when God inspired the highest universal council to undertake that divine mission when the time was right. After darkness arrived on the planet long before it was called Earth, it became one of the universe's most proficient schoolhouses for souls that wanted to evolve out of third density's limitations. Consequently, for eons the karmic merry-go-round went around and around, and the negativity that kept amassing was draining the planet's very life. Gaia, the soul that embodied as the planet, despaired, and cried out for help. With love and caring, powerful civilizations responded by beaming life-saving light, and many of their members, like you, started incarnating there to help Gaia's peoples awaken, and shake free of domination by darkness. The ages-old divine plan was unfolding. And that brings us to what is happening in your world right now, and what is on the very near horizon. International efforts to destroy the entire Illuminati network are continuing apace, and, while it may not appear that anything significant has occurred since the light forces in the United States veered from Plan A, action on many fronts has been rapidly moving forward on the course that averted a potential national disaster. It is likely, let us say unavoidable, that a period of unrest will follow public acknowledgement that the country's government is being reformed. As stated in our last message, that must precede implementation of GNESARA's other provisions, which will benevolently impact life worldwide, and the changeover in governance is the primary thrust of light forces in that country. Although the act is a straightforward piece of legislation, its essence is spiritual, its purpose is ending the long reign of darkness on Earth. We know how eager you are for that day to come, and you would like to know when it will. If we knew, it would be our joy to tell you, but we don't know. The success of this monumental undertaking is absolutely clear in Earth's energy field of potential, and it is fait accompli, in the continuum, but there are no absolute timelines. The energy of billions of thoughts, feelings, and actions constantly is darting into the field, a reflection of all activity on the planet, and something that seems probable in one moment may be scarcely possible the next. What we can tell you is, despite the zigzagging of countless energy streamers and entangled clusters of streamers, ever-intensifying light is moving the entire cleansing process closer to its victorious outcome. Dear brothers and sisters, your patience has been sorely tried while you have waited for irrefutable evidence of major change for the better, and during that time, you have endured hardships and overcome obstacles. Your spiritual strength, resilience and soul-level knowingness that have enabled you to persevere will see you through rough patches of confusion and resistance shortly ahead. Be fearless and confident, you know the light already has won. We have been asked why, since we have said in several messages that we are apolitical, we have talked so much about politics. Because that is where the world's collective consciousness has been focused. A civilization is tied to its systems of governance, and Earth's peoples have been rising up against the systems, tyrannical and dynastic rule and corrupted democracies alike. When governments retain control by perpetuating fear, deception, warring, impoverishment and divisiveness, it is not a political matter. It is darkness versus light, wrong versus right, captivity versus freedom, evil versus godliness. It is the absence of love. Love is the only power that engenders advancement in spiritual and conscious awareness, peacefulness, joyousness, health, and prosperity for all, and for long ages. A loveless world was the lot of Earth's humankind. The light you radiate has been an invaluable contribution to transmuting the long-standing low vibrations of oppression, bloodshed, and unjustness into the high vibrations of love and enlightenment in alignment with soul's divine sovereignty. All light beings in this universe honor your steadfastness in this vital service to family on Earth. We also have been asked to step up and stop the severe hardships the pandemic is causing throughout your world. Dear ones, we cannot do that. By Creator's law, God and all souls in this universe must honor others' free will choices. Souls steeped in darkness scoff at that law, and regardless of how ungodly their use of free will may be, neither God nor light warriors can prohibit it. The only exception to that cosmic law also comes from Creator. It could come from no other source, and it permits intervention to prevent the success of a free will action. Civilizations with the technology to prevent the detonation of nuclear warheads in space are authorized to do so, and they have done this for you more than a dozen times. Other than that, no soul or civilization can interfere with any individual's or civilization's use of free will. None of us could stop the Dark Ones from releasing a laboratory-manipulated virus that was intended to cause a massive death toll, but just as Creator made an exception to its law of non-interference, there is another side here, too: allowance to comply with Gaia's free will choices. She did not want billions of her human residents to be killed by that scourge, or its so-called vaccination solution, and she did not want her populace to become enslaved by programmed materials and the inoculation solutions. She does want her peoples to know the truth about everything related to the pandemic. Thus, scientists in extraterrestrial special forces were permitted to substantially decrease the potency of the virus and the vaccines, and eliminate the programming. Other lightworkers in medical fields are warning about the dangers of vaccines and the adverse effects on body, mind and spirit, by wearing masks, staying isolated, school and business closures, and negative COVID tests for permission to travel. People around the world are making free will choices to rebel against those requirements, and their numbers are growing by leaps and bounds. Throughout this unprecedented time in this universe, many powerful civilizations have been honoring Gaia's choices in ways her peoples cannot. First and foremost was answering her cry for help by infusing light to stabilize Earth's axis and prevent the planet from hurtling into space and certain destruction. The continued beaming of light and the light radiated by lightworkers is undergirding all activities and programs based in goodness. It could be said, that is interfering with what dark hearts and minds chose, and it is. However, not only has light always been more powerful than darkness, but providing it with ever greater intensity is honoring Gaia's choice that her body and its inhabitants become free of darkness in all its forms. None of us may stop the Dark Ones from poisoning your atmosphere and waters, to cause mass illness and death. Gaia didn't want her life forms to be subjected to a deadly environment, and civilizations with the capability to reduce the pollutant's toxicity have been doing that for decades. There can be no interference when Dark Ones hide truths and disseminate lies, but in accordance with Gaia's choice, messengers from the light are sending forth truths about Earth's history and ongoing liberation. And, in ever greater numbers, people are being led to this information. Now then, some of you have written about the difficulty of adjusting to the energy planes Earth enters along her ascension pathway. Others write that it's stressful trying to discern what information is true and what is not. So, let us restate what has been offered in previous messages. Temporary reactions to new energy levels may include fatigue, weakness, cramping, dizziness, nausea, headaches and aching joints. Be mindful that those also can be symptoms of illness, and if conditions are prolonged or worsen, it is wise to consult a healthcare provider, preferably one who treats holistically. To alleviate the aforementioned symptoms, sleep as much as you can, and drink a great deal of water. Eat fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes, foods that contain the most light. The more light bodies absorb, the more easily they adjust to energy surges. If your diet is not vegetarian or vegan, eat less meat, and forego all foods fertilized or processed with chemicals. They are injurious to body's chemistry. Health in body cannot be separated from health in mind and spirit, and for the past year you have been dealing with undue mental and emotional pressures caused by the pandemic. Don't resort to antidepressants or pep pills. They are chemicals that exacerbate disease by interfering with body's self-healing mechanisms. And, perhaps even more than heretofore, restorative time is important. Take time for solitude, so your energy isn't affected by the energy of others, and be out with nature as often as you can. Do yoga, or other exercises, meditate, listen to soothing music, read poetry, and light-hearted stories, watch amusing films, or illuminating documentaries, and let the artistry in your soul be expressed in whatever form inspires you. Smiling is the simplest tonic to uplift spirits, helping those in need has the same effect, and animal companions can be your best helpers. Especially when information is conflicting, and so much of it is, seek answers within, always truth is known at soul level. It reaches consciousness as you breathe deeply, exhale slowly, gently clear away thoughts, and let images or words come that indicate whether the information in question is true or false. Or sensations may flow into your heart space. As God said, the heart is the seat of the soul. If the sensation is a delicate lifting motion or unusual lightness, very likely the information is truthful. If you feel resistance, perhaps a slight tugging or a hardening feeling, very likely the information is false. The energy of curiosity has much less strength than the energy of information important for you to know, and only the latter reaches consciousness by the ways just mentioned. And, a closed mind will accept only information that fits what is believed. We are not speaking about values or principles that are part of the soul's guidance system, but only the means whereby truth can be distinguished from falsehood. Beloved family, it is natural to forget a great deal of what you have read or heard throughout your years, and for quite some time you have been engulfed in information overload. But do please, always keep in mind that all light beings in this universe are supporting you with the unparalleled power of unconditional love every step of your earth journey. Love and peace. Suzanne Ward. Website, The Matthew Books. Email, suzy@matthewbooks.com. Please send all questions and comments to suzy@matthewbooks.com. All messages from December 2003 to date are archived on www.matthewbooks.com.